Hello, hello, and welcome back to Flute Tip of the Week. Everywhere you look on the internet, you see life hacks. Whether it's for home DIY, cleaning, or even in the beauty community, there's going to be a hack for everything. Well, folks, here are some of my favorite hacks for Flute on the go. Use everyday products to help with various issues that may arise on the fly. These are some of my favorite hacks so that you can feel ready too. If, no matter how much you clean it, you still have trouble getting your head joint or foot joint on, use a little bit of cork grease. Just a dab, and right on the connection between the body and the head joint or foot joint. If you don't have any cork grease, you can also use a little bit of chapstick or some Vicks Vapor Rub. And this will add just enough lubrication so that you can put your flute together without having to do weight training first. Alternatively, if you have a loose head joint, you can put a little bit of Scotch tape on the end of your head joint so that you can have a little bit more thickness and actually have your head joint stay in the right position for you without it rolling in and out or being really sharp, because the only way it'll stay is if it's all the way into the body. Next, if you know that you're going to be playing in a very hot venue and you're worried about your flute slipping off your face, use some stamps or stickers to just put right on the lip plate, and that'll help just create enough friction to keep it there. And you can do the same thing for your right thumb. I mentioned that briefly in one of my earlier videos, but it is still a hack worth listing here. Use a paintbrush or even a small eye makeup brush to clean dust from between the rods on the body of your flute. Even if you do play your flute very often, you can still get dust from it, because, honey, you're still using your hands and you still have skin cells on there and they will still get on your flute. In a performance situation, if you don't have your cigarette paper with you and you suddenly have water coming out of your key, or something sounding very sticky, either use the bottom of your shirt or skirt or whatever to put in between the keys, just a little piece of fabric that'll help absorb the water and dab it the same way you usually do. Or you could also use the edge of your music. But regular printing paper isn't quite as absorbent as cigarette paper or fabric. So ideally, you would use the edge of your shirt. Or if you have it on you, like I normally do, your little cleaning cloth. And this will help so that you don't end up with a lot of condensation on your hands, and it'll help everything be a lot more sturdy and a lot less sticky. And finally, for your piccolo, if you find that you have a leak that is to do with one of the corks on the back of your piccolo being too thin, take a piece of cigarette paper, fold it to the right thickness, and then stick it in between the cork and the key that sits on top of it. Most of the time, you won't need to even glue it into place, and just leave it there for while you're doing your practice or while you're in the middle of your concert so that you're able to get through it. If the paper keeps on falling out, just moisten it a tiny bit and put the moist side against where it connects to the cork. And this will help just create a little bit of moisture so that it sticks a little bit better. And then, if it still keeps on falling out, you can use a glue stick. Because of the texture of the cork and the texture of the paper, it'll be easy for someone to lightly scrape off the paper and the little remnants of glue with the head of a small screwdriver or tweezers, and that will just get you through your concert so that you're able to finish up and then get your piccolo to a maintenance person to get it properly fixed. These are my favorite hacks, and I'd love to hear some of yours. So again, that tip was use everyday products to help with various issues that might arise on the fly. I hope you find this week's tip helpful. None of these hacks will do any damage to your instrument. These are all things that I have used in the past that have worked very well. I'll see you all next week. Flute happy, flute hack happy. I know I'm over a decade late, but I have finally been introduced to Will and Grace. I do really like it, but at the same time, it is just the quintessential sitcom. And half the time you just think to yourself, this show would be really awkward if there was no laughing track. Just every time someone walks into a room, they just stand there for a second holding a pose while everyone looks at them and waits for them to do something. I think I want to start doing that and just see how people react.